Well, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. My name is Nicole Curtis. I'm part of the leadership team at She Rises Studios, and I am here with the beautiful Angela Bell. Hello, beautiful.
Hi, hello, everybody.
And we are so excited to bring this conversation to you for the next 10, 15 minutes or so. And we really want to talk about moms in social media, and what better conversation to have with Angela Bell, who is the CEO and founder of Inspired and Profitable Mompreneur. So, Angela, I'd love for you to share what is your biggest tip or strategy that you can give mompreneurs when they are diving into social media for their business?
That's a great question, Nicole, because I know for so many of us, social media can be overwhelming.
Mhm.
We look out there and we look at all this content people are putting out, and we immediately think, I can't do that. I don't have the time. I don't have the space. And I think the first thing we need to do is really understand that social media is what you make it. And what you want to do is know your niche, know who you're talking to, who your ideal client is, and talk to them, right? It doesn't have to be fancy, it doesn't have to be pretty. But when you know exactly who you're talking to and you talk to them and to their needs,
Mm.
and they get to feel seen and heard, that is how you can start to build relationships through social media. Because
Oh,
so many of us
absolutely.
like want to feel seen and heard, right? We feel like especially as moms, we feel like we fade into the background. We've become so and so's mom. And for someone to speak to us and really speak to our challenges and show us that they understand, suddenly we're validated. Suddenly we're not alone. And that is how connection starts to be formed. So let go of the fancy stuff. Like, don't get bogged down in, you know, how many graphics do you have, and what do your reels slide and post right and do all this. Do you know your niche? Do you know how you help them? And are you talking directly to them? Are you talking the language they need to hear?
Hmm.
Because if you're doing that, then I mean, you can do a basic post and it's still going to work.
Yeah, no, I love that, because there's a difference between speaking at them or talking to them,
Mhm.
right? I think there's a very big difference there. And that's where, like what you said, that's where that relationship building comes into play. Um, and it's known all over on social media. If you follow, the major gurus or whoever, they always
Mhm.
talk about the know, like, and trust factor, correct?
Yeah.
But I think it's deeper than that, to be
Mhm.
honest. And I'd love for you to share a little bit on your perspective of that, if you feel so called to do. But I think on social media, oftentimes, for myself, when I started as a solarpreneur 4 years ago, I actually started a social media agency. And I remember just collecting and gathering all of this info from so many people, and then doing beta trials with it. And then I launched my agency. But in that, you feel that you have to do it a certain way, like everybody else does, in order for it to be successful. And I'd love for you to kind of share a little bit of what your perspective is. My opinion in that is, you already kind of have it in here of what needs to be said and how it needs to be said, and what products or services you're going to do and how that needs to get laid out. And I think I'd love for your opinion on this. Is oftentimes us solopreneurs or us mompreneurs can get in the mindset of, if we don't do it like everybody else, we're not going to be successful,
Mhm.
or our ROI isn't going to be where we want it to be, or we're not going to be looked as credible or have that authority of who we are in our business. So I'd love for you to share a little bit of your perspective on that.
Absolutely. I think what you said was spot on. Um, and I think when we get bogged down in this idea of building know, like, and trust, one of the things that we kind of forget is we want it to be genuine, right? We don't
Mhm.
want to build superficial know, like, and trust. We want to build real trust. We want them
Mm.
to know us as
Yes.
people, and we want them to trust us because we are who we say we are, and we're the same in front of the camera as we are off the camera, right? And here's the thing, like, one of my favorite Instagram pages, Erica over at Project Mommy Tribe, she grew her following and grew her business by sharing real, authentic mom moments, like the stuff that we all try to pretend we don't have because it doesn't look Pinterest perfect and it doesn't look all this. And the reason it grew is because moms were like, me too. That's me. Yes, thank you. Like that is
Yeah.
exactly what my life is like. And it was so refreshing to see someone be real. Like instead of worrying about if your hair's right or if your makeup's right or if your lighting's right, show up as your real self, right? Because I mean, the thing we kind of get lost in is that our uniqueness is what is so beautiful about us, and we all have our own unique and special message to share. And so why try to be like everybody else?
Yeah.
It's not what you're here for. And that's not what the world needs. I mean, the more real and authentic and genuine you can be, then the more real connection you get to make. Not this chit chat, like what do they call it? Water cooler talk, that stuff that's
Yeah.
very
Fluff.
superficial. I mean, we all get enough of that anyways. We want real connection. And that
Yeah.
comes when you show up as you.
Yeah. I think one of the things too, when working with women in social media, when you decide to become a mompreneur and you say yes to that and you jump
Mhm.
in, there's all these different departments that have to come together of strategies and structures and technology and where are you going to be and how are you going to show up and what does that look like, especially in social media, because social media is so diverse because each platform is different. And so how you show up needs to be different, meaning your strategies, but yet you need to stay the same and your message needs to stay the same with your mission and your purpose and the value of information that you share. And I think a lot of times you can get lost in that. For me, I'm a crazy chicken lady. I'm a fanatic about chickens. And if you don't know that about me, you know that now. Angela, you like chickens too, which
I
fist
love
bump
chicken.
sister.
Yes.
But I talk a lot about just me and chickens and my love for them. And I carry my audience in that journey along with tying that in to who I am, the mission I'm on, and She Rises, the women leadership, because people, like you said, they need to see raw, they need to see real, and they need to know that you are just like them. And it's oftentimes, sometimes, we can get put that we're way up here and, others are down here, but we're the same. It's just the messaging and the clarity and how we go about it, has that difference of relaying that message. So I think for all of us to really just be you in your business and allow that to happen and give yourself that permission to do that, but then executing it, what does that look like? How do you draw on an audience? How do you get your message out? And Angela, I'd love for you to touch on that. If you could share a tip or a strategy of how can you help mompreneurs make social media work in their business? Share a little bit about certain topics or how what kind of message can you give them to help so they can start right now implementing it today.
So that's a great question. The first thing I would do is pick 4 to 6 topics that are going to be your core topics to talk about and stick with that. Right. I mean, I think one thing that we bog ourselves down with is this idea that we have to be original every single time we show up, that we have to have new content, new information to share, new stuff, new. But the thing is, people need to see things at least 7 times before it even registers in their brain, before they even notice that you're there.
Yeah. Isn't that
So,
crazy? Like, I didn't
yeah,
even know that either.
yeah. So it's, and I mean, so share the same stuff, share it over and over again. You can change the color of it. You can change your delivery.
Mm.
But you don't have to come up with new things. And then the other thing is that you can repurpose your content too, even if you've already created something, right? You create a blog post, turn it into tweets, turn it into captions, turn it into, a million things. You create a live like this, turn it into reels, turn it into stories, turn it into, video blogs, like turn it into so many things. You can transcribe the audio through, a platform and have a blog. Like you don't have to constantly be recreating things. You can, repurpose things. You can say the same thing over and over again. I schedule my stuff. I talk about the same topics every Monday. I talk about the same topic every Tuesday. I don't really vary from that. I might share slightly different spins on it or new information a little bit, but the topics are the same. And they're what's important to my audience. And then, just don't misunderstand consistency as meaning it has to be 3 times a day, every day.
Yes,
What's consistent
powerful.
for you? If your consistency is that you are going to post Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 3 p.m., post Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 3 p.m. every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so your audience comes to know your pattern, right? That's consistent. Consistency doesn't have to be 24/7.
Yes. Oh, I love that you just brought that up, because we can get so entrapped that if we aren't showing up enough, our business is going to fail, or our ROI isn't going to increase, or we're not going to get any more clientele for our upcoming workshop or masterclass or coaching programs or whatever that may be. So I love that you just shared that point and you really, really just emphasize on that, because it's powerful that you get to control what that looks like, and it's okay. And you just have to trust and believe that what you're putting out and how you're doing it, if that's how you're doing it, then that it's going to work, because that's what you decided to do, and not feel like you have to compare or see another mompreneur that's showing up 6 times a day. And you're like, oh my gosh, like she's getting ahead. Right. And it's also that idea of that competing, right? We're here today to talk about, it's the collaborating piece too, right? It doesn't, don't compare yourself. It's so easy. And I'll just speak for myself. You can share on this too, Angela, if you want, but it's very easy for us moms to compare ourselves with each other of how she looks, how she's showing up, what she's doing, and then have it where it kind of gets that resent in the business world of, okay, well, you're doing that, so I'm going to go above and beyond you, and I'm going to outbeat you. But really, it's that, it's that collaborating piece. And I want to share, if you know of other mompreneurs that are doing this and are out there, connect with them. Say, hey, let's join forces. Let's do a live together. I'd love to interview you, or I'd love to get you on my platform, and build that relationship and that network of the collaborating, because you're not just utilizing each other's networks, but you're also showing the world that moms coming together in business, there's power in that. I'd love for you to share on that, Angela.
Absolutely. One thing I do want to touch on really quickly, when you mentioned collaboration, post other people's stuff.
Yes.
If you find something amazing, repost it, share the message. It doesn't take away from you. It shows people that you're out there and you're constantly seeing what's out there, and you're aware and you recognize good stuff when you see it. Repost it. Not only does it help you, it helps that other person as well. And it's less stressful, right? I mean, you don't have to you just share something good. Because I'll be honest with you, Nicole, when I first started out, social media was almost the reason I quit, because I was trying to post 3 to 5 times a day and come up with brand new stuff. And I was overwhelmed and I was exhausted. And I was like, I can't do this. I can't. Like, this clearly isn't for me. So I had to understand that I, A, didn't have to do what everyone else was doing. I had to do what worked for me. And B, I could post other people's stuff. I could share other information. I could repurpose and reshare the same stuff I shared 3 months ago. And it was liberating, to be honest. But from the collaboration, further to the collaboration aspect, I mean, working with other women is amazing, because other women understand other women, right? You come together, and there is room for everyone's voice, right? Just because somebody is in the same niche as you, same industry, does the same thing as you, doesn't mean that they're your competition, because somebody out there needs to hear what you have to say in your way. And somebody out there needs to hear what she has to say in her way. And if you two come together, you could potentially reach more people, because now there's 2 voices. So the likelihood that someone's going to hear what they needed to hear that day and benefit increases. So Yeah, no, I think that, you know, you feel less alone when you work with other women as well. And
Yes.
that's so important.
I love that you emphasize and you put that in perspective of sharing other ladies' content. I'm so glad that you brought that up because it is just that other additional piece of that collaborating, but it's also cheering, being a cheerleader for others and letting
Mhm.
them know that, hey, I see this and it's great and I want to help elevate you, because when we elevate others and help others rise, we rise at the same time.
Mhm.
And so I loved everything that you shared today, Angela.
Thanks,
You're such
Nicole.
an incredible, incredible woman. And for anybody that's listening, or if you're catching the replay, Angela does do some social media services for clients. So if you have questions, or if you just need to hire a coach to say, hey, this is what I'm jumping into, or this is where I'm frustrated. I have
Mhm.
no idea what I'm doing. I'm so off track. I just need someone to help guide me to help set the tone moving forward. Angela is definitely your gal. She's
Thanks.
incredible. So
Yeah,
we
we are
will,
here. So we are here to help. We are here to help
yeah,
everybody feel better. So
yay. And I can't wait for our next Mompreneur Monday, which will be happening next week. And that's 11 a.m. Pacific time, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right
mhm.
here. So we will see you again. Angela, it's a pleasure as always. You're so
Oh, I love
beautiful.
talking to you, Nicole. It's been fun.
I
It's been
appreciate
fun.
you. And with all of that, we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye, everybody.